I think we are live. Hello, everyone. I think everything's good, hopefully. Let me see. Yeah, I think we're all good. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. The month is flying, just to say, the 17th of September already. Another week. This next not next Tuesday coming, the Tuesday after. So basically, in 2 weeks' time, we're in October. So think about that for a second too. Just flies, like the time goes like there's no tomorrow. I know we are a few minutes early. I did say 7 o'clock, but it's better to be early than late. There was often times I said I was going to be live and then I wasn't live. Hello, Sean. Good evening. How are we doing? How is everything? It's been a while since we were chatting. Hope all is good this Wednesday with you. Hope you're having a good week too, of course. Grand. Typical Irish answer. Likewise, not too bad. Apart from nearly getting blown away, apart from that, not too bad. Not all quiet in the Western Foot. Let's put that way. We do have a good bit to talk about, mainly because I haven't been live in donkey's years. Apologies, I sneezed there. I can feel it coming on. It's not a MAGA hat. Jesus, we're not a MAGA. We're not, with the Epstein files and stuff. We're not going down that road. But I take the compliment. But I don't know about being a part of Donald Trump's movement. Oh, make cavan great again. Yes, that's what we need. Well, it's already great. So why would we? Sorry, 1 second. I feel like I'm going to sneeze for some reason. I sneezed there a second ago. Now I feel like I'm about to sneeze again, so I'm just muting myself. We'll just chat for a few minutes, the usual thing, before we get to other stuff, I suppose. Hello, Daphne. Good evening. How are we doing? How's our Wednesday going? Hello, Luke. How is things? How is your Wednesday going? Hope all's good. Greetings from Cavan. Hope all is well up in Dublin. Or may I say down in Dublin too. We're not getting to that debate, but all good in the Western Foot. We're very good to hear. I seen you see the photo of the fog. Like when I was going into work last week, whatever day it was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday, I think it was. I opened the door to go in, where we usually keep our brushes and stuff for the roads and stuff. And the fog came in after me. Like the fog wasn't there when I went into work, if that makes sense. He came in with me. Like he actually did come in with me. Like he jumped in when I was opening the door. So it took some job to get him back out the door. Because it's kind of a storage area that he can get into. But yeah, no, it's funny. It was funny because he just kind of stood there when I was getting stuff ready and stuff. Fucking ads. Very lucky. Hopefully that's a lucky sign. Hopefully so. But that was Monday, yeah. It's hard to know what day of the week it is. I just thought it was funny. Leitrim powder cap, of course, that's what we need. For some weird reason, yeah, YouTube's not happy with me on many levels. Like, just let me pause the music. Yeah, like YouTube is very unhappy with me over a few things. Like you can see it in the algorithm too that they're very upset. Whatever I said, I think it was something to do with Israel and stuff like that. And I think that's what it really annoyed YouTube. And then I said a few other stuff that was considered very far right extremist. And then this stuff about Leitrim shouldn't exist, etc., and that Cav needs to take over Leitrim. It's very extremism, so the YouTube's like, no, we're not allowing this. because you're not the first person to say that to me. When they're trying to tag me, and there's another way you can tag people in posts and on the videos, etc. It never seems to work. So you're not the first person, Luke. But I appreciate it. But you don't have to give me a shout out. I don't expect that from anybody. Let me see. I'm just looking at. Let me see. Get this working. Yeah, that's fine. See, that's the worst thing about live streaming on YouTube and stuff, because things happen. Like, in terms of glitches and stuff like that. For a second, it just wouldn't show anything. For a second. Like on the other side of YouTube here, this side, the chat's this side, there's kind of managing your stream and stuff. It just wouldn't show that for a second for whatever reason. It's fixed now, Anna. I don't know why it just glitched. YouTube sometimes can just glitch. So yeah, there's a lot to discuss. There's 100 million things. It's just 7 o'clock now, so we are early. But we'll give it a few minutes. We chat among ourselves for a few minutes. How does that sound? Then we start yapping and probably won't shut up for the rest of the day. So yeah. So no fun with anybody. No entertainment or anything. No news to tell me, basically. Any news? Debs tomorrow night. Very good. You'll be looking forward. I'm sure he's looking forward to it, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it too. He'll be dancing. He'll be doing a lot of dancing. Hopefully there won't be any videos or anything linked. That's a reference. But I hope he enjoys it. Hello there, Shawnee. How are we keeping? Hope all's well. I hope you're having a good Wednesday and a good week so far. Turn 19, Jesus, how time flies. Well, I hope he enjoys his Debs. I never, like, when I wouldn't have went to the Debs anyway. Let's put that in my Debs. I wouldn't have went to it. To be totally honest, I just simply wouldn't have went to it. I never was interested in that kind of stuff, and I didn't really care. But when my Debs were, when the leaving cert, etc. was on, it was all predicted grades, and that was COVID and stuff, and then it wasn't on and stuff like that. Yeah, always good in the hood. Always good in the hood, as the kids would say. He's old enough to drink. Yeah, I wouldn't drink too much, but but have a few if he wants to have a few. Yeah, but I wouldn't overdo it, because I often heard the people in Cavan, just take us up in Cavan, in the terms of Debs and stuff, they would overdo it, and they'd be absolutely stoned. And then, not to mention, too, there's a problem when it comes to Debs and stuff like that, because people spike their drinks and stuff like that. That happened in Cavan before COVID. Yeah, there was a bad case of that where there was a Debs, and a good lot of people were very sick after because it was spiked pretty much. I don't know, somebody done it for a joke, but that happened to one of the Debs. Somebody thought it was hilarious and done it. Thankfully, of course, nobody died or it, but people were very sick for a while afterward. So that can happen. People, like, some people think it's funny, and it's not really funny, but just to be wary, I suppose, too, what I'm trying to say. Even though the majority of people wouldn't. Yeah, well, the Debs, when they were talking, see, the year before I left, it was €100 for everybody that wanted to attend. They had a committee, kind of. But obviously, COVID came along, and there was no Debs. I wouldn't have went to it anyway, regardless. I never was interested in that kind of stuff. I never was at a festival or anything. Imagine that. There's not many young people can say they were never at a festival, a gig, or anything like that. To the gigs as well, yeah. I just never was that kind of person to go, that kind of stuff. My dad was in 19, Jesus, many moons ago, let's put that way. 300, like when because how I know about the Debs committee at the time, it was about €100, which is not that bad, but but that was more for the organisation of it and stuff, when they had the committee. Maybe it's more now. I don't know, to be honest. It could be probably more now. Most likely, it probably is more. So you're not too far behind it, because it is €100 still, at least in this part of Cavan. When I was at school, that's a few years ago, but I say it is probably 200, 250 now, so it's probably getting up there. Um, but yeah, no, it's fun. It's good. It's a good thing for people to go out too. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good occasion to celebrate and stuff. Um, as one person said to me, the only time people get together, unfortunately nowadays in the Western world, is at funerals. When somebody dies, unfortunately, that's usually when people go to funerals and stuff. Excuse me, sorry, apologies. Yeah, from Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of like bands and stuff coming up from America. I've seen it many times advertised online and stuff. It was brilliant. Yeah, memories like that, you keep them memories with you. It's a good thing. It's good to have good memories and something that you enjoy. No, it's not everybody's cup of tea, of course. Every band, but it's good for enjoyment, of course. A night out, I suppose. That's what I mean. But yeah, so apart from that, no wide news, Um, I'm just trying to think. Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are we doing? Hope we're having a good Wednesday. I hear you're being the far right extremist. You're challenging Leitrim's authority. What I mean by Leitrim's authority, Leitrim doesn't exist, but you're spreading this conspiracy theory that Leitrim exists. I hear, so they say. Allegedly, of course, as they say. You actually you're the same as me, Luke. I like. Would you believe it? I actually never took a drink or smoked or vaped or done any drugs. I still kept my pledge. Would you believe? And not many young people. And there's no young, like literally all the people in my class that were in secondary school never kept the pledge. They didn't even keep it when they took the pledge. And I'm still been keeping it. Good God, it must be 7, 8 years, 10 years ago since I took the pledge for my confirmation that I wouldn't take any smokes or drink and stuff. And it must be 10 years ago. I'm very proud of that bit. I hate to blow my own trumpet, but I'm very proud of that bit. That I never took any drugs or anything, and I still upkeep it to this day, and I intend to really upkeep it. I think it's very healthy. It's all right now and again for people. I'm not saying you shouldn't drink at all. You can have it on the odd occasion, but you save a lot of money too at the same time. I know cavan people straight away, cavan people with the money. Um, 21 degrees earlier out in Bray. We were walking. Jesus, 21 degrees. Jesus, sure you didn't go to Bahamas or something? November 16, ho ho. Very special day in the calendar. Galway was invaded by Leech. Galway was invaded by Indians. If anybody gets that reference. It's a different day. It's a different month and it's a different day, but we go with it anyway. Dublin 13. I'm trying to think wherever around Dublin 13. I don't know what's ever around Dublin 13. Where's Ballyfem? What part of Dublin is that? Sorry, I'm not that familiar with Dublin, like the outskirts. Bally, if I could spell, that'd be nice too. My Dalton. Dublin 10. That's what it is. Yeah, Dublin 10. Yeah. I don't think it was ever around Dublin 13. Don't think so. I'm just trying to think. I can't really remember. See, I'm a country. I'm the cult. If that makes any sense, I'm from the countryside. Us Cavan people don't understand big cities. There's no cows or any tractors, so we don't get it. Holt, oh yeah, I was in Holt, yeah. The Holt is in Dublin, yeah, I was in Holt, yeah. I was in Holt, yeah. See, that just shows you I'm not familiar with the city. But yeah, no, it was in Holt, yeah. So it was there, yeah. See, I never was really around Dublin too much. I probably wouldn't be around it much nowadays. Like when I was younger, it was safe enough to walk around Dublin city centre. I remember when I was young, walking down O'Connor Street and stuff for the first time and stuff. It was I thought it was a great experience going and seeing these famous, like the General Post Office and stuff. I often looked at it in books and stuff at school. And I still remember that very fondly when I was very young. seeing that the General Post Office, and then go down to Trinity College and looking around Trinity College and stuff. I didn't go into the Book of Kells, but I remember walking to the outside and looking in the door and stuff. I remember that very fond memories. But I wouldn't walk down O'Connell Street nowadays, unfortunately. Then no one go any other part of Dublin. And it's a sad thing to say, but hello, little England, how are we doing? I hear you had a good march in Dublin. Yeah, but that time I thought it was great. It was safe. It was safe. Um, like I was young at the time, very young and stuff, and I don't remember being in any danger or any care in the world about safety. Nowadays, unfortunately, it's the opposite. Unfortunately, it's a sad thing to say because I'd love to go to some museums in Dublin, but it's just simply too dangerous. It's the same when I was up in Dublin for the Benjamin Summit there in January. It was far too dangerous to go to some. I was going to go to some museums after it was finished and stuff. I thought about going to the Famine Museum that was just down the street from it, but mainly safety concerns because the quays are not that safe. Um, you know, because the quays around Dublin, you know yourself. You see, I've seen many videos over the last few months of people fighting along the quays, doing drugs along the quays, and stuff. That's safe a place. For the yeah, see, I'm just I know what I often heard of the areas that you're talking about, but I never was in them. I never can put a place up in Muller Park. I think you. Somebody said about Muller Park. Yeah, I know that little England. It's more that I said something that YouTube's very upset with. But you see, as I said to you, I think before, maybe I said it to somebody else. I'm going to keep marching on anyway. That's really all I can do. YouTube is not happy with me. I've said some stuff they're very upset about. But at the end of the day, that's democracy. If YouTube doesn't like it, so be it. But I'm going to speak my mind regardless of what YouTube thinks. Obviously, within the reason, I'm not going to breach the community guidelines. But there's obviously some stuff that I touched on that YouTube's very upset with. Very, very upset with. Like, you can see it in the algorithm and stuff. I can see it in my YouTube studio that whatever I said at certain points really, really upset the YouTube algorithm. Like, really, really, and I mean really upset. It's, like, extremely noticeable. But as I say, I don't really care. As long as I can get my view out there and some people listen to me. Well, not really listen. I'm not saying you must listen to me or stuff like that, but if I can get my 50 cents out there, that's the main thing. You're in Dublin 18, Evan only. Everybody's in Dublin. The whole nearly country nearly lives in Dublin nowadays. Like 26% of the country lives in Dublin, pretty much. 26% of the population, pretty much 30%, lives in Dublin, the greater Dublin area, which is insane to take. Oh no. Commission the mourners after me. But that could be the fuckers that are after me too. They might not be too pleased with me too. I forgot about them. They might not be happy with me. Because I kind of said something with Jeffrey before. We're not going to go into that, but poor Jeffrey is me and him are on the best of terms. So and the same with Drew Harris. So make that as you will. But I kind of made some people very annoyed. Let's put that way. Some local councillors, other people, the usual. But what was I going to say to you? Oh yeah, so we probably should move on to talking about something instead of, I'm just trying to think where I should start. So we all know about the presidential election. I'm sure people are sick and tired of hearing me talk about it and hearing other people talk about it too. So without no surprise, and I think we all knew it, to be honest. Like we all kind of knew it. And to be honest, I don't think Conor McGregor, and the first thing we talk about is Conor McGregor. I don't think anybody, and kind of really, I didn't think he was serious when he talked about running for president. And as I said in the video talking about the other day, particularly when he said about fighting in the UFC in front of the White House, and as you know, the Constitution pretty much states that the president always has to be available to the government. To sign legislation, etc., etc. Basically, needs the permission of the government to go over to a country, take for example, on a state visit, etc. So there's not a hope in hell, first of all, that the government would say, yeah, go over and fight in a UFC match. There's no way in hell they would have done it. So straight away, as soon as I heard that, I knew he wasn't serious. He was only kind of doing it for the memes, really, in a way. I could be wrong, but that's really what I got, to be honest. And the election really hasn't really even started. Yeah, but I didn't think he would leave so quickly, if that makes any sense. He wasn't Mullen, he wasn't Cavan too, yeah. I don't know why. Why did he come here on Monaghan? It's beggars belief, because he went up to David Maxwell, the Fine Gael TD, and he was looking for a reference to one for the presidency from David Maxwell. And now anybody with a brain would have told you that why would you go to Monaghan of all places where there's a candidate literally Heather Humphreys? The majority of people in Monaghan will vote for Heather Humphreys. Like, let's be fair, they will, because she's in Monaghan. They will do it. And David Maxwell's in Fine Gael. Like, there's no way he was going to go out, and especially Simon Howe said that nobody's in Fine Gael is allowed to vote for anybody apart from the Fine Gael candidate. So why in the name of God did he go to David Maxwell? Surely he knew what the answer would be. And then he went to Cathy Barrett, which is the Sinn Féin TD in Monaghan too. Like, there was no way he was going to get the backing of Cathy Barrett or Matt Carthy, any of them. And then he came to Cavan and he didn't go to anybody. Like, he didn't go to any of the councillors. He didn't go to talk to any of them. So he didn't even try. But I wouldn't have voted for him anyway, as I say. I wouldn't have done it. Because I don't think he understood anything at all about the Constitution. Not even that. Some of what he's done in the last few years is not that great. Hello, Zevin. How are you doing? Good evening. I hope we're well. Head of Humphreys. It's been wanting to bring back the black and tans too. But as I said to you in the comments, Fine Gael is kind of not the party of the Gaels anymore, unfortunately, because let's be fair, they've kind of lost that when they were kind of like Leo the Link and Charlie wanted to bring back the black and tans and commemorate the black and tans, and then they were very upset when they couldn't do it. So that didn't look too well for Fine Gael. That kind of took the elephant out of the room. But I don't mind if, like, Heather Humphreys isn't Catholic. Like, I knew that already, that she's Presbyterian, like Protestant. The majority of people in Monaghan would be Protestant, really, in a way. Like, I knew that already. I didn't know that she went to Orange Order parades and her husband was in the Orange Order. I didn't know that. I never really looked into that. It was none of my concern to look into at the time. But I knew that she was Presbyterian, that she wasn't Catholic and stuff. I knew that. But I didn't know about being in the Orange Order. The same with Ian Richmond. Yeah, there's loads of coincidences. It's all coincidences, as Simon House would say. It's quite insane. But it's I think the one thing that I'm not happy with in terms of that, it's not that like I know people say they're part of the Orange Order. The fact of the matter, she was asked this: was her husband involved with the Orange Order? And she denied it. Like, in Monaghan, when she was launching her campaign last week, she was asked directly, was your husband in the Orange Order? Or did you go to any parade, like Orange Order parade? And she said, no, I don't think my husband was in the Orange Order and stuff. And as the reporter clearly stated, you're married to the man. You should kind of have an idea, was he in the Orange Order or not? Like, you probably should know. And it's the fact of the matter, she knew about this. She obviously knew. She wasn't, being honest with people. She's trying to deflect, and she's trying to, instead of just saying it out, well, yes, he was. You get what I'm saying? It would have looked better if she did. But it's not the fact of the matter that she went. It was the fact of the matter that she lied about it, really, in a way, that she didn't be straight with people when it was asked. And that's what I'm not happy about particularly. And I think that's the majority of people in Cavan, but they're just not happy with that she didn't say it truthfully when she was asked. That's what I'm not happy about. It's not so much, the Orange Order thing, but even though it wouldn't, in my mind, it wouldn't be the best thing for a person to go, doing Orange Order plays and stuff like that. But if she was honest about it, I would have I wouldn't vote for it, let's put it that way. But still, at the same time, I would still respect that she literally said it instead of, this roundabout goose chase, Yeah, so we still don't know, just speaking of the presidency, we don't know what's going to happen with Sinn Féin. Now, there's talk about Pierce Doherty going for the presidency. We kind of don't know what Sinn Féin's going to do. Because at the moment, you have to remember there's only three candidates. There's Jim Gavin, there's Heather Humphreys, and there's Catherine Connolly. And that's pretty much three candidates. So who knows if Sinn Féin's going to back Catherine Connolly? Probably most likely they probably will. So there's probably going to be three candidates. Maybe Goward Sheridan. And I have you, as you know yourself, you heard me give out fuck about him many times. But he's probably going to be the independent, Goward Sheridan. And we don't know much about Gouch, and he doesn't seem to know much about anything. Because what I mean by that is he hasn't taken a stance on anything. I know the presidency you don't have any power, but it's the fact of the matter he hasn't really said anything about anything. He's kind of in the middle. He doesn't want to upset anybody, which is regardless in politics, you're going to upset someone. Um, you're not going to please everyone. Let's put it that way. But it's the fact of the matter he's kind of literally in the middle, and he won't say anything about anything. Um, that's what I don't like about Gouch, and so he won't. Most likely, he probably will get in. I wouldn't be surprised he'd get on the ballot because he already has Kerry County Council and he has Leitrim, like Tipperary County Council. Leitrim doesn't exist, but there is good signs from Leitrim that doesn't exist. But Leitrim County Council considered nominating Stevenson. What I mean by that is Maria Stevenson, the Independent. Which I'd be very delighted if they did nominate her. But it's going to be very hard because there's only some county councils left. There's not many county councils left. Only Gar and there's Monaghan, Louth, I think, and a few other places. Oh dear. But yeah, hello, Gordon. Good evening. Yeah, Conor McGregor pulled out of the presidency, but that's no surprise to really to anybody. There was no hope in hell he get it. And first of all, there was no hope in hell of him getting the votes to run for the president. There's no hope in hell people would vote for him. Like I would have made a whole video discussing. I have loads of grievances with Conor McGregor, like personally, and then politically. When I agree with a lot of stuff he said when he was over in the White House, but a lot of stuff that he's done over the last few years, really affects me. And I know people say the government are nearly the same, but Deputy Stagg's making a comeback. Fuck you, Deputy Stagg. Oh yeah, So what are we taking for the presidency? Just when I'm here, what do you think? Who will you vote for? I know that's personal. You don't have to tell me, or you don't have to say it. Of course, that's democracy. But there is a lot of people saying at the moment, I see it online, to spoil your vote and stuff like that. And I talked about it yesterday in the video too. But I don't know, is it worth it really to spoil your vote? Because it really does, it only kind of sends a message that people are not happy with the government, say if loads of people spoil their vote. Like in the last general election here in Cavan, so many people spoiled their vote. I think it was nearly, how many was it? It was a lot. It was nearly, I think it was nearly 1,000. I might be wrong, but I think it was because that's what all the hullabaloo was about. Oh yeah, we'll get to that at some point too, of course, with Charlie Cork. Literally last week we were live, and that happened literally after we were live. Yeah, but it's hard to know, to be totally honest. Who's who? I think people, to be totally honest, John, the majority of people I spoke to, first of all, they don't care. Like they simply don't. The majority of people don't care about the presidency because there's no effect on their life, pretty much. And that's the. I was speaking to two people the last few weeks, and they said the exact same thing about the presidency. That it makes no difference to them. Like the Pope could get into the presidency. We could get San Marin over to be president, even though that would be the most base thing imaginable. I think that would be the best outcome. But you know what I'm saying? It makes no difference to the majority of people because you have no really say in anything. You sign legislation. That's about it. You don't have an active role. You can't really, like the President of the United States, you can't sign executive orders to say that this must change or this must be done or that must be done to like to support the Dáil. The Constitution says it very clearly that the President's very limited in the powers, in terms of the presidency, the separation of powers. So a lot of people don't care because it's the presidency. If it's the general election, people would care a bit more. But a lot of people are just kind of sick and tired of the system itself. And a lot of people are just tired because a lot of people are just sick of it because people have to pay bills and stuff. And that's what I'm hearing. People have to pay bills and it makes no difference who gets in because people are still struggling. And they don't have the money to meet, like to pay to keep themselves going at the end of the week. If that makes any sense. You get what I'm saying? Like people are just sick of it. Yeah. they would maybe vote for the man on the moon. Same as in 2018. Yeah, well, to be totally honest, Peter Casey he did well in 2018. I'm sure you remember. He did very well. He's not going to probably get in this time, Peter Casey. But he was right in what he was saying in 2018. I still agree with that. Yeah, pretty much. Like the president has some powers, but at the end of the day, is not much authority over anything. Um, oh, no bother, no bother. Thanks for being here. I'll see you later. Thank you for stopping in. And sorry, I was too busy yapping there for a few minutes. But thank you for stopping in. I'll see you again. Have a good rest of your evening. Thank you for stopping by, of course, too. See, that's what happened. I'm just too busy. I get into too busy yapping about stuff. I just lose track of what I'm saying. Yeah, like Jumbo thought they did what they won. At that time, there was loads of controversy this year about Catherine Connolly. Catherine Connolly backed Jumbo Doherty, the one for president, back in 2018. Um, um, Hello, Trent. How are you doing? Yeah, we're supposed to talk. Well, if I talk about everything but the presidency, I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else I need to talk about the presidency? No, not really. There's nothing really else that comes to mind at the moment. Um, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, we go on to talk about what happened last week. I think it was last Wednesday when Charlie Cook was assassinated, shot in the neck. Now I'm sure everybody's seen the video. It's very very graphic. So it's very very graphic, and of course there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of I don't know how to describe it, but everybody's kind of very. It's very hard to describe, but everybody's kind of on the knife edge. If that makes any sense. Because there's so much anger, also. There's so much sadness. There's so much anger. There's so much tension. That's the word to describe it. Um, oh yeah, somebody bumped into Bertie Heron, yeah, and he said with Michal Martin, he's throwing Michal Martin under the bus. Yeah, because he like I think I even thought, and Sean even I remember Sean saying it too, that everybody thought Bertie Heron would be the Fianna Fáil nominee, but Bertie Heron was left out in the cold by Fianna Fáil. And to be totally honest, there's not. I don't really blame them for that because let's be fair, Bertie O'Haran, wasn't the most honest person. But yeah, it would have been a step too far, I think, for Bertie O'Haran to come back after all the scandals he was in and everything that he done. It would be a bit of a stretch. But even though the government of today is not much better than them, but it would be a bit of a stretch. It kind of would be annoying a few sheep. If that makes any sense. But no, yeah, the Charlie Kirk assassination. As I said in a post the other day, like nobody should be assassinated. But I hate using the terms like he's often heard me say it many times between the left and the right. Like I think them terms alone is used to divide people. In terms of you're part of this group or you're part of that group, and that causes division and stuff and causes anger and stuff. And mainly leads, then obviously anger leads to violence. The cycle repeats. But yeah, it was a very shocking thing to see. Yeah, and of course that to Marie McGuinness, but she was sick too. She probably was sick too. Going by what I see. Um, but mainly I think they wanted Heather Humphreys for the start because I think that's why Heather Humphreys didn't won for the general election because they had it kind of all set up. I presume that Heather Humphreys would go. But of course, it's very worrying the violence that we're seeing across, not even just to your conservatives and stuff. We're seeing violence in other countries too, to politicians and to political activists, etc., etc. I think we all need to take a step back, as the most from everything, because things are getting very heated. If that makes sense, because nobody should be assassinated or be attacked for their political beliefs. Nobody should be. I feel terrible for his family, for his poor children, his poor two children, and his poor wife too. I feel terrible for them poor children. And again, there's people celebrating Charlie Cook's death and stuff. As I say, you're entitled to have your own opinion on the man and what people believed. But at the end of the day, nobody deserves to be assassinated. Nobody deserves to be shot like in the neck and die on the stage in front of millions of people being seen across the world. And especially when you have two, young children that they have no father now. There's no words to put in that, but it's not right. It's not right to happen to anybody. And regardless if somebody was on the left, if it happened to somebody on the left too, I would say the same thing. If they had a family, and even if they were assassinated in such a way too, there is no place in society. Instead of having reasonable debates with people, turn to violence, turn to assassination, turn to killing. It's something that happened in the Soviet Union. It's something that happened in Nazi Germany. Trying to silence opponents, trying to, I suppose, support democracy in a way too. Not having any discussion, just neutralizing targets, etc., and stuff. It's not a way we should be operating in the West, and um, because we often look at third world countries, etc., where there's no law and order. Uh, if we let this kind of continue, like in the West, political opponents will be assassinated, people will be killed and stuff like that. And we don't want to get to that point in the Western world, where people can be killed for for even just voicing their opinion on different topics. But I think the main thing about it is, and as I said in my video yesterday, that regardless of who you are and what background you have, or what's your opinion, you still have the right to air your views in public, regardless of people disagree with you or not. That's democracy. But I think at the same time, we all have to remember that we are all human people. We all are people. We have families, we have friends, we have neighbours. And it doesn't just affect the person that you kill and assassinate or hurt or attack. It affects the community, it affects the country, it affects the soul of people, particularly when you target people for their beliefs, for their opinions on different things. And I think that's something we've lost sight in society, that we shouldn't be hurting each other over beliefs and stuff like that, because it never works. First of all, it just causes more pain and suffering. I think that's the main message should be said out, that it causes violence, it achieves nothing. It achieves nothing in any way, shape, or form. Um, you get what I'm saying? That's my view on it. That nobody should, regardless if it was the most leftist person imaginable. And again, I hate using the term left and right and this and that, But regardless of who you are, nobody deserves to be shot for their views, and nobody deserves to be assaulted, or attacked, or kidnapped, or anything. Um, it's a danger to society when we let normalize these things, that people can be just targeted for even just speaking. Take for example what I would say about presidential candidates and stuff like that. You get down a dark path when you allow that stuff to happen in society, and we don't want that. It happened in the Soviet Union, where people just disappeared because they criticized Stalin, or they criticized the Soviet Union. Even take for example Nazi Germany. Criticizing the Nazi Party, or criticizing Hitler, or criticizing stuff, people just disappeared and never were found again. You get what I'm saying, because it goes down a very dark path when we normalize these things that happen. The Weimar Republic, etc., etc. We could talk to the cows come home about history, but it's never good when you see this kind of stuff. I mean, you should never normalize it and never allow it to take root and to happen again. There's many more things I could say, but pretty much my main thing is that violence solves nothing. It solves nothing. It causes more pain and suffering. In the case of Charlie too, there's so many of his friends left grief-stricken. His family's poor two children don't have a father, and I think we've lost sight in that. Regardless of what your opinion is on Charlie, we shouldn't be doing that to people. And that's really all I have to say on it. But it was a very traumatic video. It was a very traumatic video to see, and I don't think I get it out of my head to be doing this. But see, this is the thing. People don't like to debate. People just want to use violence instead of debating. And it's never a good thing when that happens. Like when there's violence instead of debating people. And the one thing I give Charlie Cork is that he went to debate people, like people that he didn't agree with. He went to debate them, to have a debate with them, and I respect that. I respect that even though he didn't agree with them, he wanted still to debate them, to air his views, to listen to their views, etc. So I give him credit for that. YouTube deleted a comment. Well, I don't know. Did I say hello to you, Brian? Hello. Hope we're well, Brian. I was too busy yapping. Excuse me. But yeah, it probably will. I don't know now. See, this comment thing, I can never move up past. 4 or 5 comments. Um, yeah, I've seen a few things around it, but it's the same thing as I said there. Like nobody should be attacked in any shape or form. That's the way I see it, regardless of who you are. I would say the same if it happened to people before profit of any person. Nobody should be hospitalised, and nobody should be put into hospital. With injuries, etc. Nobody deserves to be attacked. People already have enough struggle in life without being attacked, and etc. Hello, sorry, I meant to say. I think that I don't know the CEO other comment, but because I was thinking it was too busy yapping, I just kind of seen it go up, and I didn't read it, I suppose. So yeah, we move on now. Now this is to do with the budget. So as you know, October is coming up very quickly. No, not for, I don't want the presidency. No, thank you. It's no addition to anybody, pretty much. Like if I got away with it, I probably would abolish the presidency, because it's 300,000, yeah, nearly 400,000 a year for the only salary of a president, then upkeep of the hours, and it's a lot of money, and it's not really any addition to anybody, the presidency, because the staff alone for us and one cost you and me 6 point something million euro this year or something last year. It cost 6 point something million for the office of the presidency. That's only for the staff and stuff. That doesn't even include the food and upkeep of ours and on, etc. It's an insane amount of money. Smoke and mirrors, yeah. But yeah, because there's no support this year at all. There's that for I can never spell it stuff, but that's a Taoiseach, yeah. Pretty much means chieftain in Irish. That's what it means. It's a very unique thing to say, I suppose. Well, kind of YouTube. It's hard to know nowadays. I don't think they want anybody to have an opinion on politics. I think they just want this family friendly. What I mean by that family friendly, they want you just to, talk about FIFA or something like that. Like that seems to be YouTube's narrative nowadays. They just want you to talk about FIFA and nothing else. If that makes any sense. Yeah, like energy's going up. A lot of the price of energy is going up. So, and the government are basically going to sit in their hands and do none. So good stuff. So no supports, because we seen last year literally the amount of money they threw around was insane. They give rises and social welfare, they give this, they give that, they give the other. They just threw money at everything. Um, you know. But it was insane. Like, they just threw money at everyone last year. In the United Army context. I never actually heard that. I heard him talking about the flag and stuff and the anthem. I heard that before, but I don't know about the Taoiseach. I suppose you could have that discussion. It's not that relevant, I suppose, the Taoiseach. And I would be very against changing the anthem and very against changing the flag. But whatever about Taoiseach, I don't know. because I don't know. Like, hear me out for a second. I don't know if they're worthy enough to be called Taoiseach and Tánaiste. Though I don't think they are worthy enough to be called that. I think we should just go back to using the Prime Minister's song, because to belittle them a bit, if that makes sense, because they're not Micheál Martin shouldn't be given the gratitude to be called chieftain. The same with Simon Howes, the former chieftain. Let's put that way. That's the way I see it. If they are still in office. Oh yeah, like it was on the same show. I never actually listened to it. Like that time. I heard about the flag, and I heard about the national anthem. I heard them bits, but never. I don't recall the Taoiseach bit. I know. I remember. Yeah, I remember. It was a good few. It was 4 years ago. Yeah, but I don't recall the Taoiseach bit. Whatever about that, I'm very much against changing the flag of the national anthem. Whatever about Taoiseach, I don't think the majority of Irish people would mind that bit. But I suppose whenever that comes up, we have a discussion about it and we see. Because I don't think they're worthy enough. Like the people that's there at the moment, I don't think they're worthy enough of being called that, if that makes any sense. To be called Taoiseach. If that makes any sense. So yeah, speaking about Fine Gael, the party of the Irish people, Fine Gael. Yeah, that's what I take in it. I'm very much against it to say with the anthem and stuff, because I don't know unless somebody was worthy enough of being called Taoiseach and stuff. Then fair enough, I don't mind that so much if we change to the Prime Minister and stuff. At the moment, I don't mind it because the people that are holding the office of Taoiseach shouldn't really have the title of it. Yeah, that's like somebody that is a decent person. Yeah, I'm not saying they should be the best person imaginable, and stuff like that. But somebody that's a decent enough Taoiseach, fair enough, we give them the title of Taoiseach. But if somebody's not that great, we give them the title of Prime Minister and stuff. Um, I'm not too fussed about that bit. I suppose whenever the time comes, we have a discussion about that. Um, but whatever about the flag and thing, I think that's non-negotiable. In any way, shape, or form. But yeah, Leitrim doesn't exist, so we can't really do anything when Leitrim doesn't exist. Conspiracy theories like this, YouTube's not happy with. Listening and cooking, Jesus, multitasking. Um. So yeah, what was I saying? Fine Gael, sorry, Fine Gaels. So we all know about Leo the Link. He has a nice new book. I'm sure we're all going to buy the book of Leo the Link. He basically goes and gives out fuck to everybody. He basically throws everybody under the bus. He's basically giving out fuck about everyone in the book. And he basically blames everyone for everything else, pretty much. So everything that ever happened was everybody else's fault. It wasn't his fault. So basically, he blames everyone, Leo Farco. In his book and stuff. I don't think anybody bought his book, to be very honest. I didn't buy it. I've only gone by what I've seen online, etc., from people that actually bought it. There's actually people who paid €50 to go to the Mansion House for him to sign the book and stuff like that. Like insane. I don't know why anybody would do that, but fair enough. That's democracy. Yeah, what's coming too? We're coming for that too. Excuse me. We're going to have a peaceful referendum on that certain issue. Huge. But yeah, Leo the Link, he talks about the time he leaked the documents and stuff, and then he talks about a former EU commissioner, Phil Hogan. You remember Phil Hogan? And he doesn't get on well with poor Phil nowadays. But yeah, so if anybody wants to buy Leo's book, you're more than welcome, Leslie, to buy Leo's book. We're not even going to go there with Ian Hayes. We're not going to go there with the post-social Democrats in Ireland. The post-social Democrats in Ireland are having a hard time. Holly Collins only came back today from maternity leave. Oh yeah, just to say the dog's back. Just to say, even though it doesn't make any difference. They're just sitting there talking shit. But yeah, Holly Collins is back on maternity leave. And the first day she's back just to deal with this. With a certain TD, Owen Hayes. There was war profiteering a while ago. Now I don't hold, and I was straight away when I just say about this, like he was 16 at the time, like he's 30 something now or something like that. Like it's a long time ago. It's a long. I think it was in 2000. Was it 2009 or something like that? 2008. So I don't hold it against them. Owen Hayes and this, whatever the war profiteering, but don't have any time for him on that. Like I think he's an evil person for war profiteering of innocent people. But I won't hold them against him, like doing blackface because he wanted to dress up as Barack Obama. So I don't hold it against him because he was only 16 at the time. So I cut him some slag there. Because he was only 16, like he was only 16, so you can't really blame him for that. And it's so long ago. We're not going to burn any bridges over it. Senator Buckerfield. Well, the book has to come out first. Like how are they going to just magically teleport a book that's supposed to come out in about 2 months' time? Am I supposed to just magically click my hand and the book will just randomly turn up? But we'll see. If our good friend Tony Blair gives us a good bit of money, we'll think about it. So Tony Blair hit me up. In hell, of course. Yeah, I've seen that too. But there's not much coverage of that compared to Owen Hayes, though. But I don't blame even him, even though he's the Labour Party. I don't blame him because he was only 6. Like you can't really hold it against him when somebody's literally 6-year-old. Like you can't sit there and hold a man or even a woman like against it for being literally 6-year-old. Like whatever he done it yesterday, fair enough. People would be a bit angry, but he was literally 6-year-old, and the same with Owen Hayes. Like he was only 16. Like it wouldn't mind if he done it only last week. I'm not going to go mad because of that. He was only a child. Like, let's be fair. Like, I'm not going to blame him for that. And I think that's the reason, but he was only a child. And there's no holding. And that was so long ago. It wouldn't mind if it was just yesterday. It's better and it's irrelevant to really anything, really, because I don't think Harry Collins was saying, it's, wasting and he was this, that, the other. But literally, he was only 16 dressing up for Halloween thing. Like, it wouldn't mind if he done it every day, fair enough. I hate YouTube ads. Also, I still didn't get my hair cut. I was meant to get a cut last week, didn't get cut. So hopefully this week, touch wood.
In this video, I want to walk you through what sets us apart at CSN.
Aye.
We've done this before.
But yeah, no, it was back in 2008. It's not nowadays. If it was nowadays, fair enough. Fair enough. But back then, I don't think much marks passed. So I think there's more bigger issues than it's both what he done when he was 16. If that makes any sense. Yeah, like Father Ted. As I said to you before many times, you wouldn't get off with Father Ted nowadays. Like producing something like that nowadays. So yeah, I just want to talk about the local thing, I suppose, at the moment. I know some people won't give a shit. Excuse my language, but some people won't care. It's only a small local issue, I suppose. But for West Cavan, it's a big thing, and that's to do with Bomboy Garda Station. Now, the government and the program for government, not this program for government, back in 2017, you hold me right. 2017, the government said they would open under what they call Alan Shattle, a good friend Alan Shattle, said that he would open 6 Garda stations around the country under a program for government to reopen old Garda stations and to bring them back into use. And Bomboy Garda Station in County Cavan was one of them. And it's only a small Garda station. We're talking about putting 3 guards there full time. But still, nonetheless, it should be open. But long story short, after him and Howan and lots of back and forth, they decided, let's just abandon the project and sell the property. Even though it's the property of the state, they shouldn't be selling it because it belongs to the people of Ireland, the ground of the Garda station, even though it's a good bit of ground. But basically, they're selling it now. Beats me. Because again, it was province in the program for government and they didn't deliver it. Hello, how are we doing? But you get what I'm saying, like it was promised, like it's in writing that was promised. And I even contacted because it was the Office of Public Works. Now, when I contacted them a good few times, there was a problem with the roof. The roof was just totally gone in the old Garda station. They were talking about it could cost €250,000 to do up the Garda station, like the roof and inside, etc. Because it had been abandoned for years. And still they never done it. So they're going to sell it now. Even though all our local councillors and local TDs promised the moon out and stars that it would open, it seems to be a lie because it's up for sale. And even though it's the property of the people, it's belonged to the people of Cavan. The land that the Garda station is built on, it belongs to the people of the state. They shouldn't be selling it, and it should be reopened because they did promise it. Like when you promise something, you should deliver it. And particularly as we see in County Cavan at the moment, there's a lot of burglaries going on. There's a lot of robberies of cows. There was a few cows robbed in Cavan the last few days. And having an extra Garda station, a few extra Gaudi, great statement, right? We're not even going to go there, but fair enough. But yeah, you're one of you're one of these Dublin City councillors, are you? But yeah, we're not even going to go there tonight about the city councillors, etc. Yeah, but, yeah. So basically, people are very annoyed in Bomboy and around West Cavan, this part of Cavan, because the war promised it and it wasn't delivered, and it's not really fair when something is promised to you and you don't deliver it, and especially because it was in the program for government back then. I know even Heather Humphreys at the time, I think, promised that it would be open, and she ran away to the presidency. But like my opinion on the Irish flags, I think it's perfect. I don't think there's any need to change it. Yeah, but obviously the Irish flag existed before the Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast was a British colony. The Ivory Coast didn't exist up until the 1960s or something like that. That's when the 1970s, I think, the Ivory Coast was up and getting independence. Ireland had its independence. That was flown above the GPO in 1916. It's older than the Ivory Coast flag. And because it was flown above the GPO during the 1916 rise, and there's huge significance to Irish history. And not even that, too. It kind of symbolises the peace on our island, too, between Catholics and Protestants, too. Yeah, I was just about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. But yeah, I do think it's perfect. I don't think there's any way we should change it. I think it's perfect. And it's an embodiment to the history of Ireland, too. To the suffering, the pain over the years. So I don't think we should change it. And then particularly because, again, the history of it was thrown above the GPO in the 1916 rising. I don't think we should change that. I think it'd be insulting for the people who gave their life, for Irish freedom to change it. I don't think it would be. I wouldn't agree with it at all. As I say, people have the right to disagree and stuff, but I think that's non-negotiable changing the flag. To be totally honest, because again, as I said, what you were saying about the Ivory Coast, it didn't exist. The Ivory Coast, Ireland is uh, from the Irish Free State, etc. onwards. Um, it's older than the Ivory Coast, pretty much. No, no bother at all, Vienna. No bother. No bother. Um, the Poland Moldova, yeah, Indonesia. Um, but no, I think it's perfect, but I don't think there's any need to change it. Yeah, that's the I take. That's the I take in the nicest terms. Like, I think it would be insulting to change it, um, because like in all the history, like in recent time, in the '60s and the '70s and the '80s, in the '90s and stuff, there was never a time where it was talked about. Oh, you're talking about in Dumshango and County Leitrim and stuff. I don't know what's happening there. But no, you were speaking about the Misha Aaron effect that was supposed to happen in Dumshango. The only thing I heard, like the owner of the place, there was I can't remember what the place was called. It was some community setup, but they lost out on a good few €1,000 because of the Mission Aaron cuts are going off to Mayo. So pretty much I haven't heard anything since. Yeah, so it's pretty much irrelevant now because at the time when it was going to go ahead, the whole media were in a firestorm about it. They were going mad over it. A few people going with a few instruments to play Irish music. They were going mad over it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Fight each other, yeah. But it all goes back to colonization, like it does. The Ulster plantation, etc., etc. Well, Irish people's land were confiscated and given to Ulster Scots and British settlers and stuff. Moved to Castlebar, sorry. In the end, um, you know what I'm saying. It was tension there because, and obviously, it was just basic colonization, pretty much. Um, that's same with really every conflict in nearly in the world, like in majority of the world too. All really to do with colonization. And Ireland's really no different, and it was just that's basically how it all started. Even though Catholic and Protestant is not immensely different compared to Muslim and other religions, that don't believe in God, etc., etc. Uh, like Protestants don't believe in the Virgin Mary, excuse me. As far as I know, I might be wrong on that, but I never really looked into Protestantism too much. But it's not too different, as far as I can get. It's not as different as other religions. It was buzzing. Yeah, it's a long time since the flower was on it in Cavan. Like the flower in 2000, you're talking about the flower in 2012, around that point. They should bring it back, really. We should try and get it back because it was a great time. I remember the flower in Cavan. We had it for 3 years that time. It was a great event. It was great. It brought a huge amount of money too for local businesses and stuff. It was a great event. I remember all the festivities and stuff, and it was lovely. I enjoyed it. So many people enjoyed it. Like people really love it. People have great memories of it. It was a great event in Cavan, and it brought a lot of money to the local economy. Not just even about money. People enjoyed it a lot. And it would be nice to see it come back at some point to Cavan Town. But I don't know will that happen. That might not happen for the next 100 years. But it would be great to see it come back if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I put Cavan on the map too, but it was great for local people just for out and about. I remember even people that didn't never used to go out, went out for a night out and stuff, and the music and different events. And there was different things going on. There was historical things and stuff. It was great. I do think we should bring that back, but I don't know. We probably never get the opportunity again because we got it for 3 years in a row that time. We were very lucky. So I don't know. That was back a good while ago. Feels like a long time ago. I remember I got a SpongeBob, like kind of not Teddy, but it was kind of a blow up balloon and stuff like that. Like it was way up, and there was like a helium balloon of SpongeBob and stuff. I love that. Like it was some kind of like the way you throw balls at a cup and stuff, and you have to knock it over like a light ball or something like that. Oh, there was something on the cup, something like that, and I won it because of that. So, um, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like when the Ulster plantation happened, um, that kind of divided the country because Irish people land was confiscated and given to British settlers, um, and that's pretty much what started the whole lot. Pretty much, um, you know. Um, that's obviously just a short version of it. I could go into more detail on it, but it's a lot better than it was years ago. Years ago, it was just it was atrocious. Nobody could no Protestant or Catholic person could even talk years ago, even just back 20, 30 years ago. No Protestant or Catholic could really talk. I even remember hearing stories of a woman and a Catholic, a Catholic man or a Catholic woman. They'd be excluded. They could be excluded from the community. They'd be isolated from marrying a Protestant woman or a Protestant man. It was atrocious, or even getting in a relationship with them, not even marrying them. It was queering things years ago. But things are different now. Like when I went to Skin in the few back, when was it? Probably was before I went to Finland in May and stuff. I don't know. I have it up on it's on the community post. But we went up. It was kind of like a cross border initiative. I went up to it to Enniskillen. And there was people from the Unionist community, like there was people from the Democratic Unionist Party. Um, yeah, you didn't go into Protestant churches again, like some people do. Like I was over in Finland, and they call it Presbyterian, which is pretty much Protestantism too, because that's the main religion. It's not Catholic; it's more Protestant, like Presbyterian, as they would say in Finland. Like I was in Protestant churches over there. I was in an Orthodox church. Davey, you must have just fucking hold me. Excuse my language, but as soon as you said that, I said it. Yeah, I was in an Orthodox. I was in 2 Orthodox churches in Finland, uh, but I don't know much about the Orthodox church. Yeah, you don't take communion too in the Protestant. That's why too. Uh, but it's not that necessarily different to other stuff, like compared to Muslim and stuff. Free, but I think they just call it. They don't really call it free over there. They call it just Presbyterian. I think that's what they call it in other parts of Europe too. But in Finland, they call it Presbyterian. But I was in like Protestant churches and stuff. Years ago, that would have been an outrageous thing to say for an Irish person, an Irish Catholic person, to say I was in a Presbyterian church, like I was in a Protestant church. It would have been sacrilegious to say something like that 20 years, 30 years ago. You know, um, if that makes any sense. So things have changed a lot. But the thing about it is, like, there's no way of really changing it. Like in Northern Ireland, unionist majority is going down. So it's only really a matter of time before there will be a United Ireland. It's hard to know how long that will be because the unionist majority is not as prevalent as it used to be in Northern Ireland. If that makes any sense, of course, around Belfast and stuff, there's still a huge unionist majority. But a lot of people, particularly after Brexit, a lot of people in Northern Ireland voted to stay in the European Union. And they kind of feel abandoned by Britain on a lot of subjects. You know, a clown country. Well, not I don't know about a clown country, but I suppose Irish politics has always been a clown. Yeah, we're just saying. But things have moved on a lot. What was that? But yeah, I was in the North. Like even just saying I was in an Orthodox church a few years, like even 30 years ago, would have been an outrageous thing to say. But I was in the 2 Orthodox churches over in Finland. A lot more grandeur than a lot of places. A lot of gold and stuff. Um, um, but yeah, no, just what I was saying about Ellis Skin, I think of it. But yeah, there was people from the Democratic Unionist Party that time. Like, it was a kind of how would I describe it? It was like a peace kind of like it was not really kind of like a peace thing, but it was like a cross-border initiative, if that makes any sense. Peace, reconciliation, and stuff like that. And I was asked to go and stuff, so it was an interesting conversation. But still, at the end of the day, it would have been insane to even think 30 years ago that people from a Catholic background could talk to people, even though I wouldn't have much time from the Democratic Unionist Party and stuff like that. But still, we had a discussion with them in terms of different things. And then there was other people from other parties too and stuff, like Northern Ireland people from different parts, even Catholics and stuff. Because Fermanagh too is more Catholic than Protestant nearly nowadays. But yeah, even, it would have been insane to say that 30 years ago. But it's not as much hostile. Like there's open negotiation. Years ago, there was no talking between groups. If that makes sense, but it was good discussion because people were able to communicate. Like we wouldn't just fighting each other with our fists and stuff. If that makes any sense. Um, so it's good to have that because years ago would have been just all out. It would have been massacre if we went in there and had a discussion. Years ago would have been an all-out massacre. Well, not necessarily, because Protestants, they do believe in different things than Catholics. As I say, you don't get Holy Communion and stuff. It's very sacred. Holy Communion is very sacred in Catholicism. And the same with the Virgin Mary. I don't think they believe in the Virgin Mary. I could be wrong in Protestantism. I know that, yeah, but the Orthodox I know that, yeah, I know about that. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you kind of do. You kind of do. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You might not believe in everything that Catholics believe in, but you do believe in like a lot of the stuff. But there's a few things that you don't, as I say, with Holy Communion and the Virgin Mary. But you do pray to the same God. It's not like you pray to Allah or some other religion's God. Yeah, yeah. Tony Blair was an upstanding man. Said no one. He preached it. Yeah, like we could discuss it all day. But there's not the only thing I go by. There's not that great of a difference between the Protestants and Catholics. But yeah. So yeah, I think we might need to leave it there for tonight, unless anybody else has anything else. Like we could have a whole discussion about it, but we had a big discussion about that, I suppose, for the last 30 minutes, maybe. But it's good to have a discussion about it. To be totally honest with you, I can only guess, Gordon, what you're going to say. Well, great. That's state the obvious. But yeah, look how long my hair is, just to say too. It is very long. I have to get a cut because it is extremely long. Like it is really, really long. It has to be cut this week. Patron said of Finland, indeed. But yeah, is there anything else before I go tonight? Because I don't know we'll be live Saturday. It's kind of 50-50. Get a bow, yeah. It could be handy. What do I do for fun? I kind of just go out for walks and stuff. I suppose that's my idea of fun. I know it sounds so silly and stuff. That kind of my idea for fun. Not really. I'm doing YouTube too and talking about politics and stuff like that. It's fun too. But in a sense, it's infuriating. But you either kind of laugh or cry. You either have to pick one of the two. Yeah. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. No, I don't do that. No. We're not going to go there. We don't have to go there. Ifito. Why the fuck? Everything just went. What do you call that when you highlight stuff? It's kind of went blue for a second. Also, I hate this computer why it doesn't go up to other comments. No, I don't do that now. I don't go and do that now. I don't think. I suppose the Foggy Jew and stuff. The old to the Walla Walla is good too. There's many good songs. Why are you asking me these? Do I look like I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm not even going to give you the end of the team of answering that question now. Um, at home, yeah. It's great to hear anybody's view because people are too afraid. I said it in my video yesterday. People are far too afraid of losing their job and uh, being isolated and stuff with their views, etc. Nobody should. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Sean. But yeah, no, that's not correct. Like people being targeted for their views, etc. Um, I don't know about that one. Don't know about that one, Gordon. I don't think I have too much opinion. Uh, what is this now? I don't know. I think you're reading the wrong wrong hymn sheet. To be totally honest, Brian, I think you're winging the wrong hymn sheet though. We're winging the wrong hymn sheet. You're reading the wrong hymn sheet. To be totally honest. But yeah, I think that's it for tonight. I think we have enough. What do you call this? Don't know. Boss, do you want to know something funny? Just before I go, just when I thought about it, actually. Do we want to know something funny? I don't know about that one, but yeah, take care, little England. You take care too. Have a good week. Have a good rest of your week too. I don't think it'll be live Saturday now. Maybe we will. We see, but most likely not. We see how we go on it. But yeah, no. Do you want to know something funny? But just before I'm about to go, I need one person to say yes or no or maybe. Yes, thank you. Let me see. I had to get it now, so that's the next thing. So hold on a second. I should have, you think I would actually have it open when I'm just about to show you. Uh, it's something funny, but just give me a second, just because for the shits and giggles. Where is this now? Sorry. Imagine I talked a big game there, and as soon as I was going to show it, I didn't have it ready. So give me a minute. So I have to find my way. Also, you should look at my community post just to say to anybody, because that's basically my Twitter. I mean, one second to get this. Sorry, give me one more. Sorry. And I wouldn't mind if they didn't have this ready. You would say, no, we don't care. Yeah, the folk photo was great. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Oh. So yeah, Sandra Mowen bought herself a new pair of trousers. I know, shocking. But yeah, she's becoming a Calvin woman. Most of my jeans are second-hand ones. Just like these ones I found yesterday at the house, like the Helsinki airport, just to say, I seen them myself. They have a second-hand shop in the Helsinki airport because they're obsessed with recycling and reusing things, if that makes any sense. So it only kind of works out that Santa would probably would do that. But yeah, as I say, where is this? Pelgele. Where did I post it? I not yeah. you could say in an Irish perspective, Santa's become a Cavan woman because you get it. Cavan people wouldn't spend tuppence. But yeah, so yeah, that's the major update. Um, but I think poor Sydney has a one for money. Let's put that way. Um, but yeah, that we leave that after tonight. How does that sound? So good night, everyone. Take care, and I chat to you later. So that was well worth the wait. You probably thought I was going to get married or something. That was the big announcement. But anyway, take care, everyone. Good night, and God bless.